was crazy. It was insane. I loved every second of it. It's a really cool experience.
Game number 5 between Tempo Storm and Team 8. The top position of North America here in HGC comes down to this game on Towers of Doom. Tempo Storm with the Battleground pick.
And Team 8 has already removed the false set. Obviously, we've gotten a little bit way through the draft here. But more than anything, they banned out the false set early on, and we have to consider the fact that Tempo Storm, both the games they won, they ended up having the false set here. So adjustments coming out from Team 8. That was about the only one, though, because they, in fact, do have Malfurion, they have Varian, and they have Tassadar. So, you know, sticking a little bit to what they know. The question is, does Tempo ban the Medivh, considering they expect it to come into play? And it is one of Medivh's better maps. Or do they say, you know what, we did fine with it the past couple of times, we're going to do fine with it just now, we'll let them have it.
Yeah, if you want an unkillable comp, great. You devote so much into an unkillable comp that you can't kill us either, and eventually we just out-macro you and win the game that way, especially on Towers of Doom.
We'll find out. The ban coming in is going to be Tychus. Now, what does Team 8 want to remove? Are they concerned at all about the Diablo, about the Zeratul? Looks like they are concerned. Diablo's going to be banned out. Now, does Tempo Storm want to be able to pick up that Zeratul for their own? Do they think that it's not going to be an option? We'll find out. Warriors, what are they going to go for? Dahaka, I think, is going to be a must for Tempo with false set off the table. You pick Dahaka here. Maybe even another frontliner?
What about ETC right wing Zarya?
Oh, that could be a thing. That's a good point that you bring up. That those three together could work pretty well if you went ATC and you could wait on the Brightwing and then last pick it.
Yeah, you could wait on Zarya too. I'm pretty sure that teammate. I don't know. Actually, I would just get Zarya if that's where they want to go. You never know how many shields teammate will try to steal away from you.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think I like the Dahaka the most. Well, maybe not. Yeah, the ETC Zarya sounds so Tempo Storm that it's insane. But instead, they're gonna move with Zeratul and Ragnaros, or not Rhaegar.
Ragnaros.
I've said that about 3 times already today. The Ragnaros.
It's been a long game, or a long day of heroes that have been incredible. I do not want this series to end at all. But it has to. And it comes down to this game right here. So what do Team 8 get to close out this series? Illidan, Gleaming.
So we see Team 8 changing things up, going with the other hero that's going to work. Zeratul, Medivh, Tracer, and Illidan on this map. All were banned out or picked, forcing him into the Medivh or the Illidan. We see Glaron going to the Illidan. Has the Varian, has the Tassadar. Malf isn't necessarily the best. If Li Ming can prime a kill, Illidan confirm it, reset city, things would look pretty. But is it enough? Is that the change that Team 8 needed to be able to win this Towers of Doom game?
This is the second time we're seeing Team 8 play Illidan. They did win the first one. This series is so close. Like, even looking at who has picked Battlegrounds and who's won, except for Battlefield of Eternity, whoever picks the Battleground ends up losing the game. In this case, that'd be Tempo. But it is Towers of Doom, and it's a great macro-oriented, constantly keep pressure onto your opponents, and that's something that they excel at.
Yeah, but they don't have false step.
They don't.
Every situation we've seen GFE and we've seen Tempo Storm complement their macro play, complement their focus on worrying and map manipulation, outscaling through that, through getting the soak elsewhere. There's been a false set involved. There is not a false set involved here. There is no Dahaka. That's the next best replacement. So Team 8 has finally got a little bit more even footing, at least, when it comes to that, you know, removing that place out from Tempo Storm and now forcing them to go, all right, we have what it takes here with the Illidan composition. That being said, though, it's not the first time that any of the members of Tempo Storm have ever faced an Illidan composition with Glaurung on it, you know, expecting that. Like, there's going to be a lot of reoccurring things like with the Zeratul play. So I think that removes a little surprise value when it comes to teammates draft here.
Illidan versus Zeratul, coming down again to the constant fights we have seen between Psalm and Glaurung. And it all breaks here. We're going into game number 5 between Team 8 and Tempo Storm. Get hyped on Towers of Doom.
And knowing that, you know, these teams are going to be playing here 2 Towers of Doom, one thing we do have to consider is the fact that on Towers of Doom, Tempo Storm in effect is 1-1, and this is the first time we've actually gotten to see Team 8 on Towers.
We'll see how comfortable they are on this battleground. Here are the members of Team 8 yet again in the blue. Battered Assault is the pickup for level 1 for Illidan instead of Immolation.
Little less skirmish, or excuse me, sapper control, you know, map manipulation there with the Mercs. Tempo Storm on the other side, trying to prove themselves that they are still the #1 seed in North America. They are the best of the best, or in fact, has that gone over to Team 8?
That question has been risen versus Tempo Storm so many times, and it is because they don't take clean wins all of the time, but they do, in the end, get the wins. They just have to make sure that they get this one here.
It's going to be very, very important for them so far when it comes to talents at level 1. Everything's very norm. Cattle, though, getting caught out. Glaurung's going to have a Q to body block. Not going to commit to it, though, here. As the wave clear, it's going to be a 1-1-3 choice here and a 2-1-2 on the opposite side. Tempo Storm definitely going to have the advantage there. Buds, excuse me, with the B-step. Loving and Justin's in a tough spot, though. Nobody's going to get the chase. Psalm ends up popping the vorpal. The reflect there. Glaurung now might be able to chase, but June's going to be there for the heal. So tough, close skirmishes already here this early, Gilly. Insane
Rotations from the teams. You have to be thinking after this long series, too, still making sure that their communication is on point. So when something like that happens, Prismaticism can rotate in with the right shield or heals to make sure that somebody doesn't go down when they get caught like that. Zeratul and ETC still looking at the top lane as a potential point of taking someone out, but Prismaticism on Tassadar is not the easiest person to gank, even though he doesn't have prescience just yet.
Zeratul roaming here with Fury into the mid lane. Tassadar versus Ragnaros, man. Ragnaros is going to be very successful in that lane, getting those free stacks all day. Triple Shrine phase now is going to spawn. What is going to be the laning choices here for the team? It looks like Tempo Storm is focused onto their sappers. They're going to be able to pick it up. Scouting it out is Fury here on the ETC. He sees that Team 8 is over here. Kato's made the transition. Tassadar is going to be slow. Li Ming is going to provide the poke. There's going to be the root first combo coming out. Oh, it's such a tough moment very early on into this game. Kato's eating a lot of harass. Illidan there with the dive. He ends up running the W. Instantly, he's got to get deleted there, though. So Glaurung going down. Psalm onto the back, though, running very low himself. Has to teleport out. Everybody for Tempo Storm so low. But the sapper looking Cotton go in the auto. He gets Buds. They steal the sappers, and now the 3 shrines. Tempo Storm, a confident invade, and it pays off.
Trading out damage just in the nick of time to keep everyone healthy for Tempo Storm. Now a full level ahead. Prismaticism gets his own altar, but the 2 altars, the one on the side of Tempo Storm and the one in the bottom, are forfeit to Tempo.
Yeah, and that's going to set Team 8 quite a bit behind here. The amount of pressure, and oh man, that's so interesting to see that that was that way that early on. Illidan typically thrives in those type of compositions and skirmishes early on. Granted, you know, maybe lacking a little bit of that early game damage without the immolation there. Moving into the Battered Assault, he did get value out of it, but was quickly to be able to die directly after. Now Tempo Storm doing what they do best, considering the map, keeping the pressure, painting the map their team's color, and making it difficult for Team 8 to be able to take any decision without losing something elsewhere onto the map.
In the bottom, Varian and Illidan jumped in to try to get a kill on Cotton Luck, but no success there. Instead, they're going to do what they can to trade out on structures, knowing that so many of the members were found out by Prismaticism in the top lane to be there for Tempo Storm. But with them moving out of vision range, Team 8 have to move away. And constantly we see this from Tempo Storm, where Tempo Storm play with the vision of their opponents. Even if they don't, like on Brax's holdout, right? They would move away out of the vision, and you have to back up. And then Tempo Storm would say, okay, we know they backed up. We're just going to get a Merc camp instead.
Yeah, they do a very good job, and sometimes, you know, lack of information is better than, you know, or anytime you can give lack of information to your opponents, it's going to be better. Showing somebody is sometimes worse than just, you know, having somebody AFK and even at their base. It's just the amount of information available is always something that's difficult to deal with here. Tempo Storm, heavy focus on the sappers. They picked up 1, 2, 3, 4. This is their 5th sapper camp already here, 4 minutes into the game. What's your sappers per second? Sappers per minute, I guess you could do. Sappers per minute are sitting very, very high here. Bud's eating a bit of harass. Glarong now with the response. He's going to look to force. He's got to tread lightly, though. There's going to be the power slide from Fury. And it looks like he's going to back out. Double Shrine phase is up 7-7. Tempo Storm got the first 2 picks of the game. Will Team 8 have what it takes here? Gilly, this is the moment because it could swing heavy.
It could, but that bottom lane is now a point of a problem for Team 8 for the rest of this game. To have that much control over the bottom lane this early on into the game is monumental for Tempo Storm. Tempo are happy to trade out on altars knowing that they're ahead in experience, they're ahead in core health already. So we'll trade it out, each get 4 shots. Tempo Storm are looking toward the late game or even just the mid game with knowing how much damage they've done in the bot lane.
5 minutes in, 6 Sappers achieved. Tempo Storm here getting a lot of pressure. Yoda eating harass. Good job from Kato there setting out the E, allowing Psalm to be able to abuse that mobility. Everybody here from Team 8 has transitioned up. Sappers, though, make their way in, get the value that they want out of them. The rotation for the bottom Sappers are going to be up here in about 6 seconds, and Tempo Storm looks like they are fully committed.
But Team 8 realize this. They have to know that this is, as soon as those are up, that's where Tempo Storm are headed. So they're starting to get faster. They maybe can catch them in this rotation between one to the other. Here comes the charge. Jumps on top of Fury. Glarong is committed in on top of Koth and Luck. But with a face melt, Fury ends that aggression.
He ends the aggression. The other Sapper camp now just spawning. These Sappers moving in should be able to confirm this bottom 4. The bottom 4 is not enough experience for Tempo Storm to hit 10. It is enough for them to get scarily close, but not quite 10. Psalm had to blink out there after Warbringer brought war, I guess, to his face. Is that how that works? I think so.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Ragnaros got a wave in mid and now has headed top 2. So this is now a situation where Tempo Storm are looking at having heroic abilities. Seems to be played out correctly by Team 8. They cannot lose a bunch of deaths to heroic abilities of Tempo Storm. Oh, and a double altar phase on top of that.
Yeah, Team 8 has to forfeit something here. Trading is an idealistic scenario for them. Because of the experience, not having that 10, the Sapper pressure, Fury and the rest of Tempo Storm should easily be able to clear that up.
And Tempo Storm know that without heroic abilities, Team 8 is limited in their defense of this bell tower. That just netted them 2 extra shots if Tempo Storm are able to get both of these altars. Team 8 do have some ways of stalling.
They should be able to stall at least one now. That was very, oh wow, they aren't even going to. I thought they would buy enough time to get the pressure through mid with having Tassadar and Li Ming there and be able to soak enough experience, but in fact that was not the case. They did not get 10. So yeah, you're right, that bell tower, 2 more shots here, 10 shots converted in that Shrine rotation, 18 shots left on the core of Team 8, just now picking up their 10s. Meta is the choice here for Glarong. Taunt comes into play there. Glarong's going in, they're looking to possibly dive this.
Ancestral Healing's been used. Glarong wants to continue on the fight. Psalm's still about halfway down in health. Here comes Cattle. Sappers are up, at least on the side of Tempo Storm. So if someone moves back, like June, to get those, the rest of Tempo Storm can be a barrier to stop Team 8 from taking back the spell tower.
Fury's patiently waiting. They don't know he's here. How many will he get? There he goes in.
2.
There's going to be the 2-man mosh. Cattle takes over the Molten Core, hits a 3-man stun. The Soul Fury smash on the butt, deleted there. Now Psalm was in pursuit of Prismaticism. June has pulled his way away from the Sappers. Glarong going in with the dance. He has a Metamorphosis though. Force Wall, uses friend or foe. Will he be able to get out? Psalm not there to confirm the kill, but Cattle is in fact going to.
Cattle has had some of the most effective Molten Cores I think I have seen of anybody so far in HGC.
It's because they initiate at the same time as he is Molten Coring, rather than Molten Coring and initiating. After, you know, they're like, okay, I'm Molten, and he's like, all right, I'm going in. Fury instantly goes in with him, right? It's kind of like a Tyrael in the sense that like he throws out the Eldruins, but they're initiating at the exact same time as Tyrael activates that, rather than letting Tyrael do that himself and then trying to get the follow-up.
32 to 18 in core health, 5 kills to nothing, and almost level 13. Tempo Storm are going for a near perfect game here on Towers of Doom. What do Team 8 have to do to get back at this point, Dread?
Fight. They have to. They have to get to a point where they can actually fight because, again, they don't have the wave clear their opponents have, especially not going better to Salt, not having that immolation. Illidan can't soak side lanes. He's all in on his ability to be able to get skirmishes. Bud's went into scouting drone, so he's got no wave clear. Li Ming typically pretty poor. Tazadar does okay. Variant almost none. And you're facing a Ragnaros. That's really all Tempo Storm needed. And the threat they have on the map, it means that Teammate now has to catch up and win through fighting. They're going to be down a talent tier. This is the best talent tier. They're going to be down probably the entire rest of the game. Bud starts the channel. This is it. Teammate has to win this fight. Otherwise, things get very ugly and almost out of control.
Flowering once again going to jump in. They're just buying time for Buds to pick up this altar, and it is achieved. Cleanse goes down. Void Prison in the back, but Varian gets into it. Sulfuris smashes a follow-up, and Justine gets taken out. Flowering's on the back line, and there is a strafe, but Zeratul gets taken out, and suddenly it's a 1-for-1.
The 1-for-1 trade, but the fort is up, and so is the fort wall, allowing Tempo Storm a pretty easy retreat right on their way back. So 1-for-1, Zeratul and Varian were the ones to be able to fall. Typically, I'd say, you know, that's an Illidan's, you know, perfect moment to be able to get that counter initiation, and he does look like he was going to take it for a moment. Ends up dashing right out there with the friend of foe, but my goodness, Teammate here. Small victory and being able to go 1-for-1, but again, they need to make sure they get the pressure onto the map. And without having any of the bell towers into their favor, nor having the pressure onto the map, Illidan really has, you know, we always talk about when you see Illidan's how far to the opponents to be able to retreat. Right now, it's very easy for Tempo Storm to be able to back out when things do not look pretty.
At the very least, Teammate do get their sappers, so aren't facing the problem of being having Tempo Storm with 2 of those sapper camps against them. The fight is going to go right back in as Prismaticism comes in. Force Wall is great on Caterpillar. Glowering body blocking him as long as he can. Ancestral Healing keeps Caterpillar alive. Fury is the next one maybe to fall. June doing everything he can to keep Tempo Storm alive long enough to back to their fort.
That was a very good job from Tempo Storm. That was very little panic for what most teams would panic at. Just June casually walked up, says, I've got the Ancestral. He didn't even spam his whole rotation and cooldowns. It was very much just, here's your Ancestral. We're going to be able to make it out. They walk away, and now it didn't cost them that much. Obviously, it wasn't great, but it was perfect crisis management for the situation they were in, showing that they are very comfortable with where they're already at, not only in the series, but within HGC so far. Triple Shrine phase here. Talent tiers are going to be even. Globals don't exist, so we're going to be, you know, it's a standard, I guess, if you will, approach here to the beginning half of this. Long and the rest of the Teammate are pressuring onto bottom, looking to try and convert this bell tower. Zeratul's on top. So they're forfeiting both of these channels, putting the shots there down to 3. Molten Core, oh my goodness, he last second saved it.
Rune, Glaus, Furnerfolk, and so he can dash back. Zeratul's picking up the top. They didn't get the bell tower in time to limit the number of shots that Tempo Storm could get.
And now power slide over the wall there for ETC. That just secured 2 shots, or 1 shot, over there for Tempo Storm with that Molten Core, as the core health now sits 7 for Teammate.
But Teammate have made it through both triple altar phases, so there's not going to run into that situation again. But Teammate have to keep the aggression going constantly, and they're going to run into Tempo Storm 16. Yeah,
that's, I think, the biggest problem. It's not so much that, yes, there is a moment, Lauren goes in, but it's the fact that Tempo Storm's about to hit 16. Without the globals, the triple shrine phase isn't that scary. It's more getting a fight that they actually want. And bottom lane is really the only area that's going to be able to provide that with the fort being dead. Tempo Storm is backing out and going bottom. I almost think that Teammates should I don't know, they're going to back out to looking to get 16. I just don't see a world where Tempo Storm gives Teammate a full 5-on-5 ever. With having Void, having Sulfuris smashed in the mosh pit. Like, if things look bad at any point, they're going to walk away. And if they look okay, then they're going to commit to the fight. They're not going to, you know, worry about it. And it's not a map where Goran can really force the issue with the Illidan.
But Teammate are pushing anywhere they find the opportunity. They are up in the top lane. They're trying to get 16. They know they've almost gotten it before the next altar phase. That is good. That's huge. And they can push into mid. They've lost both the bell towers in the bottom. But Sapper camps are done for, and they'll take this mid, giving them 16.
Yeah, it's good to be able to catch up in the experience. The question is, are they actually going to be able to take a fight? Like, not can they fight, it's will Tempo actually stand there and brawl with them whenever they need to, because right now, Tempo Storm can not only just give this up, they can give up a couple more of the shrines here, and they're going to be just fine. They come to defend this bell tower. Fury's moving very aggressively. Root's going to be laid down. Glorong is going to get power slid on there with Justings. There goes the Molten Core.
Watch out, Justing's in a bad spot. Oh, was it interrupt?
They've got to
Justing?
convert it. Oh, Justing's health is so low,
So
though.
Fury Smash, that's going to take him right out. Metamorphosis just has to get away, and on the backside, another mosh pit perfectly executed from Fury gets 2 kills along with the kill on Varian.
Yeah, and that's going to allow them to be able to back out and open up the map as best they can. The bell tower in mid was converted there, as you can tell, by teammate here, as June is going to be able to start the channel. They aren't even worried about doing anything else. Not even clearing up some of the other bell towers. They're just going to capture that and then move to core. Or with, sorry, boss for core. But let's see if Illidan and friends here with Tassadar, can they stop it? Gilly, it's already down to 50%.
This is the last-ditch effort for Team 8. They need to get this boss somehow, but it is a 2v5. There goes the smash. Glaurung gets taken out, and in quick fashion, Tempo Storm regains their title, just defends their title versus Team 8 here in HGC.
Very well done. Undefeated here so far in HGC North America, and being able to take out Team 8, who has had some of the cleanest victories so far at HGC. But Tempo Storm keeping it up, keeping up, you know, the pride, how good they are and how long they've been able to stand at the top. But Team 8 did do a pretty good job of putting up a fight. There was a lot of good things. There were a couple of bad things as well. But I think more than anything, it was just that we saw a series coming out of Team 8, and I think nobody really expected that. Looking at them, you know, earlier when they started with this roster specifically, even a lot of the videos, the players talking about their underestimated group of players.
Yeah, and especially it's good for Team 8 knowing that they took Tempo Storm all the way to Game 5 as they look toward the series tomorrow versus Gale Force Esports.
Yeah, they're going to have to really make sure they kind of look at their drafts today, their games today, because the playstyle of GFE is pretty close to Tempo. Probably not as clean, team fighting not as convincing, but when focusing on the macro, things like that,
Globals.
They got beat very hard. They need to focus on what made that happen so they can come back tomorrow and stand a chance against Gale Force.
Well, I think we have Caterpillar on the line. Hey, Cattle, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. How you doing?
Hey, man, congratulations. How did you think that series would go? Did you think it would be that close?
No, I thought we would win a little more convincingly. I think we made some very minor draft errors that lost us both those games, but then once we got our draft down, the other 3 were pretty clean.
All right, so I asked already Insomnia when his victory with Team Freedom, but I've got to ask you now. Can you give me any insight on Zul'jin and Brax's holdout? Why do we see this insane amount of Brax's Zul'jin?
He's bad.
He's bad. That's all.
There's very, very, very specific comps where he's good. That one comp they ran, that was the one situation where we should have banned Zul'jin. Other than that, bad.
Okay.
So looking at that match, who would you give MVP to for your team and for Team 8 as well?
Ooh,
You can say yourself, by the way.
yeah, sure. I'll give it to me.
Right,
I don't know.
all right.
It's like we play so much as a team that it's really hard to have like one standout thing. Psalm's VP's the last gamer. Was he even on Zera? I don't even remember. I already forgot.
He was.
Yeah,
Yes.
he was. Yeah, I mixed the games up. Yeah, so probably give it to Psalm that last game for sure. It was really good, and then yeah, we just probably Glau on the other team. He had some pretty good games. Stood out.
All right, so you're playing No Tomorrow and Gale Force Esports next week. Any insight you can give us into those matches?
We're just trying to go 7-0. That's it.
Nice.
Just want to win.
Well, good luck. You're well on your way to doing that. Any shout-outs before we go?
Yeah, shout-outs to Tempo for sponsoring us, supporting us. Shout-out to all our sponsors. Shout-out to my team. And Psalm's going to be streaming, so check him out at twitch.tv/Psalm something. I got it.
Mike was able to name like 3 of his teammates. You can't even remember songs?
I want to confirm Psalm Hots.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's going to be streaming, so check him out. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, and congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, Tempo Storm,